Hello, true duelists. It's YGOstrat's Yu-Gi-Oh! Single Card History, where I'm going to be talking about some of the cards that have impacted Yu-Gi-Oh! Throughout the years, and some of the other ones that didn't. Today's card, the Xyz that helped push Orcust into relevancy, Dingirsu, the Orcust of the Evening Star. Dingirsu was first released in 2019's Dark Neostorm as an ultra rare, with notable reprints to date including an ultimate rare printing in OTS Pack 11 from 2019, a second ultra rare printing in Dual Overload in 2020, and 2023 gave it far too many rarities. But if you're broke, you could afford a super rare, and if you're bespoke, there's the quarter century secret rare, or prismatic ultimate rare, or whatever one wound up being the most expensive. I don't know at the time of recording. As of this video, it's never been on the ban list, and if it ever ends up there, I'll be confused. So I'm gonna say it now, it's probably not gonna be on the ban list. A Dark Attribute rank 8 machine type monster with 2600 attack and 2100 defense. The materials to summon are any 2 level 8 monsters, and its effect reads: you can only special summon Dingirsu, the Orcust of the Evening Stars, once per turn. You can also Xyz summon this card by using an Orcust link monster you control as material. If a card or cards you control would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can detach one material from this card instead. If this card is special summoned, you can activate one of these effects. Send one card your opponent controls to the graveyard, or attach one of your banished machine monsters to this card as material. First of all, what a name. And secondly, that's a pretty solid name. I actually have no idea why I clearly made a mistake in writing that, but I am not fixing it during this reading. Dingirsu came out in Dark Neostorm as one of 2 pieces of support for the Orcust deck in that set. The other was the Counter Trap that doubled as a Rhoda and also an Infernity Barrier, because power creep is just a thing, I guess. And with these 2 cards, Orcust was finally able to really break into the metagame, one we would come to know as TOS. TOS, of course, being an acronym for the 4 best decks of the format, and O being representative of, wow, Orcust, bet you didn't see that coming. Orcust is a deck broadly, was best known for the infamous any 2 monsters is full Orcust combo, because any 2 monsters could be used to turn into a Nightmare, either Phoenix or Cerberus, who in turn could become Nightmare Mermaid. Orcust Nightmare as a main deck monster gave the deck the means to not only help cheat out their Link 2, but it also got a banished machine to get that Link 2's effect live, which let them search the field spell, which made the whole deck quick effects. Where Dingirsu came in was the bread and butter play, to use its ability to Xyz summon it on top of one of your Orcust Link monsters, allowing you to recover and recycle your banished Orcust monsters before linking it off, and then usually ending on a board of Rusty Bardish, Orcust Galatea, 2 set copies of Fogblade thanks to that Rusty Bardish, and the Orcust field spell, and most notably, that symbol skeleton of Orcust variety in your graveyard. The end result of all this was to be able to use symbol skeleton's effect on the opponent's turn thanks to the field spell, which would allow you to summon Dingirsu from the grave to a zone that Rusty Bardish pointed to. You could then use Dingirsu's effect to send one card the opponent controls to the graveyard, and Rusty Bardish's effect to pop another card on the field, meaning you got 2 pieces of removal for 1 effect activation. And that was all on top of your 2 Fog Blades for monster effect negation as well, which ultimately meant 4 pieces of disruption, all just for the standard bread and butter doing your combo as you want to do it anyways. And all of that started from any 2 monsters with different names. This allowed Orcust to carve out its niche in TOS format, and thanks to the genericness, it allowed countless variants to pop up, with the core difference being which engine was used to get 2 names on board before doing your end board play of Rusty and Dingirsu. Even when Nightmare Mermaid would get hit on the ban list, Orcust would continue to see play in the metagame, with one of the last decks of TOS being a combination of 2 of them, that being Sky Striker and Orcust. Because Engage is an insanely strong card, and Hornet Drones with Kagari can easily either get you 2 monsters on board just to make any sort of link plays, or you'll have one half of Galatea while you can use Kagari to get back an Engage and then draw even more cards, because Pot of Greed isn't once per turn, and that's regardless of if you're playing the original print from 2002 or the 2018 version that Sky Striker got. This deck became what a number considered to be the best deck at the end of the format, combining the 2 decks to help make up for the hits that they'd both received on the ban list at the time. It should be no shock for you to learn that this is really Dingirsu's most prominent use in the metagame. I know, the Orcust card was at its best in the Orcust deck when it was meta. Stop the fucking brushes. But it really isn't the only time it's being played. Broadly, the card quickly became one of the best generic rank 8 monsters in the game, because the protection effect protects any and all cards from destruction, it's not once per turn, and it can save even 1 single card. It doesn't matter. Not to mention the fact that the materials have no impact on its other effects. most specifically that non-targeted Send to the Grave. That effect makes it a phenomenal Xyz to help going second, and since its protection effect isn't activated, it makes it very useful for helping breaking a board, or at least baiting a negate, while you can still keep the body. You're not destroying me, I'm using that detach. Plus, if your opponent had a card like Dragoon or another Dragoon-like card that couldn't be targeted or destroyed, Dingirsu did a great job of getting around that. As such, you'll see it show up in any deck that can really make rank 8 plays, ranging from the likes of Gren Maju, because danger monsters and Gizmex just make for easy rank 8s, or something such as, say, Mech Knight, who play enough level 8s and have the flex spot in the extra deck that getting an access to a non-targeted removal is about as good as it can get. Even one of Orcust's biggest rivals in TOS, Thunder Dragon, was known to play it at the time because they had 8s. Sure, Titanic Galaxy was a great card to make when going first, but if Thunder went second, Ding was a great option because spell cards aren't really the main scare when you aren't dueling Sky Striker. One other horrible play from the time that Orcust decks did use in 2019 and still use today from whoever's still playing them was the ultimate inclusion of El Shadal Winda. Winda is a level 5 fusion monster, meaning it can be summoned off of instant fusion, and normally that's irrelevant since instant fusion will destroy Winda during the end phase that it was summoned, and it would never be an issue on the opponent's turn. Unless, say, you had Dingirsu face up with a material, because then after your full combo, you could just activate instant fusion, summon Winda, and when instant fusion tried to resolve and destroy it, you could use Dingirsu's effect to prevent that destruction, and now you've got your full Orcust board and an additional floodgate of only one special summon. Now that is playing Yu-Gi-Oh! As it was intended, I am sure. That play was probably its legacy for a good while. It fell out of play during the COVID formats due to the fact that Eldritch, Adamancipator, and when you move on from that into Drytron and Tri-Brigade, they just don't use rank 8s. It has shown up in sporadic decks, however, such as Punk Therian, because they have a flex spot in the extra deck, and they have level 8s, so what do you know? A couple Therians, maybe a Foxy Tune if you're a psychopath, and really that's about where the card is at. Used in extra decks where they don't really need the super tight spacing, but can get use of an extra option out of it in a duel. Something like Earth Machine with its abundance of high-level monsters and plenty of level 8s, and its ability to manipulate levels with that one Infinitrack monster to maybe sometimes get 8s. I don't know, it's doable. I'm not saying it's ideal. The most recent top I can find with it is from a Labyrinth deck, and a number of Labyrinth decks to be clear, but again, this isn't playing it because you're turboing into it, it's just available if you'd like to try it. 19 times out of 20, you'd rather keep your lovely ladies and whatnot than get out the big mecha on a horse, but it does have its uses. Overall, Dingirsu is probably the quintessential rank 8 monster in Yu-Gi-Oh! In my eyes. Like, everyone knows it's a good card, and when decks have the room to play it, they typically do, but it's a rank 8, so it's never top of mind in most metas, and it's much more niche just because it's not, you know, rank 4 or Link monsters. Still, its strength in Orcust decks during their prime is undeniable, and its versatility to disrupt the opponent's board while protecting your own makes it very, very playable in more ways than one. While it may not be the flashiest monster in the game or the most blatantly broken or abusable, it's a damn good one, and when you get to play it, you usually do. Not to mention, if Orcust does come back, it'll still be a thing. Like, Rusty Dingirsu ain't a bad play. And so that's our look at Yu-Gi-Oh! Single card history, Dingirsu, the Orcust of the Evening Star. Stay tuned for our next video, and feel free to suggest some cards to review or what type of video you'd like to see. Don't forget to like, and as always, subscribe to YGO Strats to impress your smoking Italian wife, and so you too can be a true duelist.